All right, good evening, everybody. It's 6 p.m. This is our July 14th regular Board of Alderman meeting for the town of Spencer. We are called to order, and I'll ask that Alderman Miller please give our invocation tonight.
Thank you, sir. Will you please bow your head? Our Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight for our town and our nation celebrating its 250th year of freedom, we need to give thanks to our forefathers' courage and sacrifices made for us. We honor the generations of dreamers, builders, and neighbors who established our American heritage. Bless our time together tonight. May our discussions be productive, our decisions be wise, and our shared pride in our country inspire us to be better stewards of our town and our nation. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Board, you have before your proposed agenda for this evening. There is a request from staff to add one additional item for our police department for consideration of a special grant. And if the board is willing, I'd suggest we add that as item 18 before our departmental reports following Mr. Blunt's agenda items. And if the board is agreeable, and if there are no other items to add to the agenda, I will accept a motion to approve the amended agenda. So, the motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sledge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed? And our agenda is set tonight. We will move on with recognitions. We have several recognitions, including a recognition from Mr. Miller that he has asked to give as well. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Miller and let him make that initial recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This past week, Spencer lost another outstanding citizen. Mr. Mike Deal, a lifelong resident and very active member of Central United Methodist Church, passed away. As many of his friends will attest to, Mike was a very special person and will be missed by many. Mike's number one task in life was to check on the health of many of his sick friends. The list of people to call continued to grow as time went along. Mike would always try to help out anyone needing a prayer or special thought. In his younger days, Mike was always seen walking in town, talking to anyone that would listen to him. As a devoted Christian, he was always encouraging people. Every morning around 9:30 at the Miller household, we would get a call from Mike checking on my daughter, who has chronic migraine. He was always checking on her, making sure she was okay. This past several months, Mike has been in and out of the hospital with heart concerns. While he was in the hospital, Mike would routinely be calling people and checking up on them. His phone was always busy with his concern for others instead of himself. The morning calls that many people will not receive anymore will be silenced. Mike will be missed as a good person.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. It is indeed a loss for our community, and may we use Mike's example to continue to check in on our neighbors and make sure that we're reaching out and uplifting them each day. Appreciate that. We'll move on to the next recognition, and that is a proclamation for America 250 that I will read. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America, commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, and the birth of a nation dedicated to liberty, self-government, equality, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas generations of Americans have defended and strengthened these ideals through service, sacrifice, civic engagement, and dedication to the common good, and whereas during the Southern campaign of the American Revolution, Major General Nathaniel Greene led Continental forces across the Yadkin River in present-day Rowan County during the Race to the Dan, preserving his army from capture by Lord Cornwallis and enabling it to regroup for the Battle of Guilford Courthouse, a strategic turning point that helped set the stage for American independence. And whereas Rowan County and the surrounding region played an important role in the struggle for liberty, and citizens today continue to honor the courage and sacrifice of those who secured the freedoms we enjoy. And whereas the North Carolina Transportation Museum in Spencer hosts its annual fireworks over historic Spencer Shops celebration near Independence Day, bringing residents and visitors together in celebration of our nation's founding. And whereas the town of Spencer proudly joins these festivities at Spencer Town Park, providing opportunities for the community to celebrate our shared history and heritage. And whereas the semi-quincentennial provides an opportunity for all citizens to reflect on our nation's past, celebrate our shared heritage, and renew our commitment to the ideals that unite us as Americans. Now, therefore, I, Jonathan D. Williams, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Spencer, and on behalf of the Board of Aldermen and our citizens, do hereby proclaim the year 2026 as the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Be it further proclaimed that the town of Spencer encourages all citizens to commemorate this historic anniversary and honor those whose courage and sacrifice secured our nation's liberty. In witness whereof, I've ordered the town seal affixed by my signature on the 27th day of June in the year of the Lord 2026. And again, we recognize this exciting year in our nation's history, and it's hard to believe it's been 250 years. It's also hard to believe that it's only been 250 years since our founding. So with that, we'll move on, and our next recognition will be from Alderwoman Sledge.
If you were in Spencer on Saturday, June the 27th, I hope you were able to take advantage of the largest fireworks display in Spencer. The North Carolina Transportation Museum partnered with the town of Spencer and others to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country. Hundreds, possibly thousands, of visitors and citizens came to our area to enjoy the fireworks over Spencer Shops. If you were in the town park, you would have seen children enjoying our new splash pad, food trucks, and the musical entertainment on the F&M Pavilion stage performed by Caleb Williams from Thomasville. Caleb was able to join us when Liam Pendergrass found himself double booked by his new management team. I had the honor of reading the 250th anniversary proclamation from our town in the absence of our mayor, who was out of town. You might have enjoyed food from a local restaurant at one of our picnic tables. If you went across Salisbury Avenue to the Transportation Museum, you could have watched a USO-style show in the back shop, found lots of activities for the kids, and enjoyed music coordinated with the massive fireworks display. So if you missed this year's celebration, mark your calendars now for the Saturday closest to the 4th of July and join us for fireworks over Spencer. In the meantime, watch for other events right here in our park. On Thursday, July the 16th, North Rowan High alumna DJ Dana Grubb will be spinning the sound of beach music and rock and roll in the park. Watch for news of more things coming in August, Labor Day, September, and the race to the river leading into Winterfest. Thank you to everyone who made this event possible. I enjoyed it, and I hope you all did too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman Sledge. And we will move on with a recognition from our Fire Chief, Michael Lanning.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. So if you cannot tell, this little guy beside me is terrified. I think this is probably the most nerve-wracking thing he's done in 2 weeks.
Chief, you can have him come sit here if he'd rather. I got a seat. All right.
So I feel like all of y'all know, but this is Hunter, and I am blessed to not only have him now as a junior, but to be able to play an integral part in the beginning of his fire service career as his dad. So against as much as I've tried to talk him out of this, he's pretty dead set, and there's a picture of him graduating preschool holding a little sign saying he wanted to be a firefighter. So here we are. And figured, why not know team better than our own to prepare him if that is what he chooses to do as a career. So he has prepared a speech for y'all on the topic of what is service. No, I'm kidding. But he did want to make a comment, and then I told him if there was any questions, he can answer those. Go into the wall.
You can do this. You can do this.
I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to continue to serve the town of Spencer.
Very
Glad
good.
to have
Well
you.
done. What they haven't told you is later in the meeting, you're going to get to give the fire department report. Hunter, I want to say on behalf of the board, we're thrilled to have you as a junior firefighter, part of the Spencer team. And I know you've grown up around it, but it's different now that you're actually able to be a part of it. And so we appreciate you stepping up, taking this opportunity and joining our team. And best of luck to you. And Chief, thank you for getting this program in place. We look forward to seeing many more folks joining Hunter as a part of this program and growing our next generation of firefighters. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will move on next, and we are moving to our public comment section. We do have one individual signed up. I know a few other folks came in just before the meeting began, so if there are other folks wishing to speak, if you'll just raise your hand so I have an idea. Okay, very good. So we'll start with Ms. Leslie Talbot, and we'll invite her forward, and then we'll make sure to get the other citizen as well. Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes for public comment. We do have a timer to help you out a little bit, but
I appreciate the perpetual reminder, sir.
Hey, it's not just for you.
I know, I'm teasing.
But if you will, just state your name and address for the record.
I'm Leslie Ann Talbot, 308 North Salisbury Avenue, Spencer, 28159. I'm also the chairperson for the Historic Preservation Commission, and I'm here to speak on behalf of them today because I didn't have a chance, because we're running behind on everything, to get Aaron any updates. We are behind schedule, and we are playing catch up due to our recent loss of our new member and very active in the short time he was here, Mason Ivy. So it's been we're kind of off balance a little bit. We are still working on our Facebook launch, and I've asked for some interesting historic pictures that we might include to spark interest. We are going to use it as part of use the Facebook to find the answers to the quiz that you're going to take in the class that we're offering in the end of August. We're still trying to nail down on a available date, so that we can all work through it. We have, let me think, we're looking to streamline our process, and I will be providing before the next meeting an outline to you all to share and talk about, so that we can make sure we concur and you approve, because we can't move forward with any changes without you. We also are working to update some of our standards where we have ambiguities, and since we're streamlining the process, we have to go back through and we have to make sure that we're turning over the easy ones, the ones that require negotiation, have to stay with us, and sometimes they're embedded in some of the chapters, so we have to work through that. But we plan on having that complete and presented to you before the end of the year. Promise, 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 if I have to give up sleep. So, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you, Leslie. Board, any questions for Mrs. Talbot?
None? I must have done a good job.
Well, thank you and the HPC for all the work that you're doing, and thanks for making the reminder about the loss of Mason Ivy. Again, another huge loss for our community and for our HPC, who we had recently joined. Yes. So thank you. All right, we will invite our next public speaker forward. Again, if you will just come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Summers. I reside at 525A Long Ferry Road, Spencer, North Carolina, 28159. I am the president of the Thelma Smith Foundation South Branch. That is where we're located. We're doing a Title I Back to School Jam this year with North Rowan Middle School, North Rowan Elementary, Herefordale Elementary, and North Rowan High School. It's going to be July 25th, 2026. I have here our flyer, our need sheet, our proposal, and our W-9, because we would love for the town of Spencer to join in. We are low on book bags. One of our vendors kind of let us know at the last minute they wasn't going to be able to supply us with what they promised. So we're here tonight to see if you guys can help us with book bags for our event. And we would love for you guys to come out. So all the information is included in here. I do this for a living, so I don't need but 2 minutes or less.
All right. I'm impressed. You didn't even need a minute.
And I
Very
am
good.
the Title I liaison for our school as well as the PTO treasurer. So if you got children at North Rowan Middle School, hey, I'm that lady.
Very good. Thank you so much. We'll take that information and consider it. The other thing is I think we have a few civic organizations here that we can share that with as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Board, will move on to our consent agenda. We only have the approval of our minutes from our June meetings on the consent agenda. And so if there is a motion to approve the consent agenda, we'll entertain that now.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, motion by Ms. Sledge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Moody. All in favor? All right, all opposed? And that is approved. We will now move to item 8 on our agenda, and that's to consider adopting ordinance 26-06 to amend the town's official zoning map dated September 10th, 2024, rezoning Rowan County GIS system parcel 032112 located at 600 South Salisbury Avenue from CIV Civic District to MS Main Street District zoning classification. Mr. Blunt.
Mayor, members of the board, you've seen this presentation before, and since we have a number of presentations to make tonight, I'm going to run through it very quickly, but I will pause at the end to answer any questions you might have. This is a rezoning requested by the town of parcel 032112 located at 600 South Salisbury Avenue. The blue rectangle is where that is located in relation to the downtown area. This is a little closer view showing it bracketed by 6th Street, 7th Street, Salisbury Avenue. Of course, this is our old town hall building, so you're familiar with it. The town vacated this building when it moved into these new digs that you renovated so well. In recent months, we've had some interest in possibly redeveloping this building by private developers, and we recognize that the current zoning is civic, CIV, which does not allow for private retail office space. So we have decided to request a rezoning to MS, and I'll walk you through a few more slides. This is the view from Salisbury Avenue, from 6th Street, from 7th Street. This is our zoning map, and we always show you this so that you'll know that we are rezoning within the parameters of state statutes that does not allow satellite rezoning. So this is in an area where MS zoning is very common in the downtown area, so it's not spot rezoning. And again, the purpose of this rezoning is to allow renovation of this unused government building into light new office space. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Board, are there questions at this point regarding this rezoning request? Okay. Hearing none, we will entertain a motion to amend the official zoning map of the town of Spencer for this parcel at 600 South Salisbury Avenue from CIV to MS.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Moody. Second by Ms. Stanley. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed? And that's approved unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I think we need to have that
Correct.
motion for the system of
That's right.
consistency.
The statement of consistency and reasonableness.
And I choose to make that motion. I move to adopt the statement of consistency and reasonableness, stating that we find that this rezoning is consistent in general with the town's comprehensive land use plan for requirements of North Carolina General Statutes 160D-605A. We further find this rezoning to be reasonable in all ways as prescribed by North Carolina General Statute 160D-605B. This rezoning will be beneficial to the citizens of the town of Spencer.
Thank you, Ms. Sledge. There is a motion for the statement of consistency and reasonableness. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is also approved unanimously. Thank you. We'll move to item number 9. That's proposal for ordinance 26-07, annexing Rowan County GIS parcel 324052 at 607 Hawkinstown Road. Mr. Blunt.
Mayor, will make a single presentation for items 9 and 10.
Okay.
One is for the annexation, one's for the rezoning. You will need to make separate motions to adopt separate ordinances for those two actions, but I will make a single presentation, and it will be a long one. I'm sorry for that. This has gone through numerous public hearings, neighborhood meetings, planning board sessions, and as recently as your public hearing that you had last Thursday. At each public hearing, I've heard different things that were of concern to citizens and board members, and therefore I went back and added more slides every time somebody did that. So y'all are going to learn not to ask so many questions. But I think it will also be educational to you and to our community to hear some of this information. So again, this is parcel 324052 on Hawkinstown Road. We are considering, or you are considering, the rezoning and annexation, and then later on we will be handling the site planning for this project. This is where that parcel is located. To the north end of that parcel is Hawkinstown Road. At the south end is Grants Creek. Just a little bit to the east is the Hawkins Meadows Townhome project that we did last year and is under construction at this time. This is a little closer view of that site. This is a conceptual site plan. It has not been approved at this time. It's been through the preliminary steps, but this gives you some idea of what the developer plans to build, and that is laid out horizontally so you'll have a little bigger view of it. That focuses in even closer. That turns it north and south so that you can actually see how it's going to lay out on the property. This map shows the north end of that development and how it fits in with the existing development on Hawkinstown Road. This is a view from the street looking to the west in front of the undeveloped parcel, looking to the east, and looking across the street. And I want you to note in this slide, it will be important in a later slide, that these houses sit on the front part of the property, and the rear portion of the property is still in forest. For the most part, they're undeveloped lots in the rear. I did a little studying because we have heard before that there's concern about the small in size of the new lots that are proposed. I went through and did the calculations to determine that the average lot size in the new development was 0.184 acres. The average tax value I originally estimated at $300,000 each. The developer in one of the meetings said it would be closer to $400,000, so I'm stating it as $350,000 per house. Those houses in blue that are closest to this development, I did the same thing. I went through and calculated the acreage, but to be completely honest with you, what I calculated was the undeveloped or the developed portion of the acreage. I did not include the woods to the rear of the homes. Looking at that calculation, these come out to be an average of 0.281 acres, obviously a little bit bigger than the ones that are proposed, but the average tax value of all those homes is just a little over $130,000 each. This is our current zoning map. The red arrow points to the parcel that's being considered for rezoning and annexation. You will see that it is in an area where the predominant development patterns are residential of various types, including the RMST that is proposed for this site. This is actually Salisbury's zoning map for that area, and I originally had it in without any of the information just to show by the parcel lines that this area is seeing a lot of development for small lot subdivisions. I actually went through and calculated some of the, not the average size, but the predominant size of the lots in these various developments. Again, the proposed subdivision, the average lot size is 0.184 acres. The large subdivision to the west of that For the most part, the lots are less than that, they're 0.11 acres. There are other developments in the area, the townhomes, because of how they are built on a very small, long, skinny lot. They're each on 0.06 acres of land. Even over in Country Club Hills, the predominant size of lots in that development is only 0.45 acres. So small lot development is the prevalent development pattern in this area. Speaking of development patterns, these slides may just be more of interest than they are of educational value. This is a 1903 road map. It's the first one I could find that showed what I believe was the driveway into Samuel Hawkins' farm and the various other buildings on that end. It did not connect to 7th Street because 7th Street didn't exist at that time. The 1930 road map, it shows it actually connecting to 7th Street. This was a 1955 aerial photographs. I stitched together 4 different photographs to show that in 1955, this was primarily farmland. Very little residential development in this area. I got out my magnifying glass and could see that there were a few houses built, looked to be about 7 houses. And I also found Bellmead subdivision. This was the first recorded subdivision in that area, was recorded in 1954. This was 1994 aerial photograph of Hawkinstown Road. You can see a lot more homes developed, and to help you visualize it a little more, those are the ones that I think were shown on that map. And then this is the latest 2025 aerial photograph showing a lot more homes, especially the small lot developments to the west and the Hawkins Meadows townhome development. While I was doing this, I did look at a few plats for some of these houses that I was finding, and was sort of surprised to see that subdivision had been going on since 1954, including the very parcel we're looking at today, which had a subdivision plat recorded in 1957. So again, this is not a new pattern in this area. Subdivision has been proposed and executed since 1954. That Bellmead subdivision that I mentioned, that's what the plat looks like. It was recorded in 54. That's what it looks like now. Not all the roads were built. Their right-of-ways still exist. Not all the lots were developed because a good number of them did not perk and there was not water and sewer available to those lots. So there's a lot of undeveloped land in that Bellmead subdivision today. And here's the subdivision plan for the Hawkins Meadows townhomes, the latest one that you approved last year. And that's what it looked like in the aerial photographs of 2025. If you took aerial photographs today, you would actually see the road system built out and townhomes being built very rapidly. And I've been told they were advertised for occupancy in July, which sounds a little ambitious to me, but that's what we're seeing in the advertisements from the realtors. We heard concerns about traffic, and you've seen these slides before, so I'm going to run through them fairly quickly. I talked to the NCDOT engineers because this is a state road. They're the ones that make decisions about these roads. They measure things in annual average daily traffic movements, and they have told me that they estimate for new developments that each house will create 10 new traffic movements. They also are constrained by state statute that says that they have to be estimating at least 3,000 new traffic movements per day before they can request a traffic information study, and that traffic information study has to be at least 4,000 actual traffic movements before they can implement road improvements like turn lanes and traffic signals. Off of NCDOT's website, I went in and found the actual measured traffic movements. I picked the latest one that was available and also the largest one that was available. And you'll see on the east end of Hawkinstown Road in 2007, they had 1,700 movements. 2023, it was down to 1,500. On the west end, 1,200 in 2004, 750 in 2022. And just for information purposes, for those of you who travel on Old Knoxville Road from time to time, you recognize it is a fairly busy road. It's not over capacity, but it's fairly busy. The AADT on that road is 4,800 in 2024. So it gives you some relative measurement for what the traffic is on Hawkinstown versus that road. So the impact of Hawkins Meadows townhomes and the new proposed 30-home subdivision, total of 170 homes times 10, 1,700 new traffic movements a day. Just guessing that half of them would go each way. We have really no way of estimating that, but just guessing at that, that would bring you to these new numbers. On the east end, 2,350, on the west end, 2,050. Again, nowhere near the 3,000 that triggers a traffic impact statement, nowhere near the 4,000 that would require improvements. So based on DOT's measurement of traffic, Hawkinstown Road is not a busy road. For those that live out there, I'm sure it feels like it is, and it's getting busier with each development. But they don't really measure the capacity of a road by how many cars traverse that road, the AADT. They think about intersections and how long you have to sit at an intersection. And that's how they actually get down to grading roads and determining what needs to be done. These next couple slides came from the study we did with Rowan County on Longs Ferry Road, and these were the criteria that NCDOT uses to judge intersections, grading them from A to F based on how many seconds you have to sit at an intersection. And that gives you the scale of that. This actually gives you the current and the estimated waiting times at the intersections along Longs Ferry Road. I give you these numbers only so you'll have some familiarity of how they are looking at the roads. You see that on Longs Ferry Road, they're actually predicting most of those intersections to be Fs and Es by 2030. If anybody travels Hawkinstown Road, and I think a lot of you do from time to time, can you ever remember sitting at either intersection on either end for more than one or two cars to be there? So again, the intersections are not impacted by high traffic flow. And those traffic flows would actually be the traffic flows on 7th Street and Old Knoxville Road that would cause you to have to sit at that intersection for a long period of time. So hopefully that answers the traffic concerns. With any annexation, one of the issues you need to be considering as a board is the cost-benefit analysis for the town. The costs obviously are the increased requirements for fire protection, police protection, garbage pickup, yard waste, and road maintenance. Road maintenance, because these new developments will actually dedicate these roads to us, will in some degree be taken care of by an increase in our power bill funds. But the rest of it is taken care of by property tax growth and sales tax increase, and I'll show you some estimated calculations. One of our procedural steps in this process is to contact all of our department heads, police, fire, and public works, explain to them what the development will be, how many homes will be there, and ask them if they see any problems. And for this 30-home subdivision, all department heads have told us they see no problems. Population growth. These are some new slides. Ms. Stanley came and talked to me after your meeting, and she asked some good questions. And it dawned on me that some of y'all have been here for a long time and have heard my presentations on growth and planning before, but some of you are a little newer and probably have never heard this before. But I think it's beneficial for all board members and our public to understand that we are in a high growth area, high population growth area. These are statistics that I pulled off the internet. The highlighted part in yellow tells you that from 2024 to 2025, North Carolina grew by 1.3%. And we are currently the 9th largest state in the nation. I think we're growing the 3rd fastest of any state in the nation. The Charlotte region is growing at a rate of 1.6% annual growth rate. And these are honestly considered high growth rates. If you can imagine, these are annual growth rates. In the census, they do every 10 years. So in most cases, census growth is usually 1 to 3% for a 10-year period. we're seeing 10 to 15% in these areas. Another statistic shows you that the growth along the I-85 corridor is actually even faster than the Charlotte region. And therefore, you got to keep in mind that we are a part of the Charlotte region. We are a part of the I-85 corridor. And so you might ask, what's Spencer's growth rate? Because we're a municipality of less than 5,000 people, it's a little harder to find actual census data numbers. So what I did is went back and looked at all the zoning permits that I'd issued since I've been here for 4.5 years. Total of 119 zoning permits for single-family homes, duplexes, and townhomes. And based on our average number of people per residence, which is 2.75, that means that we have increased our population by 327 people in the last 4.5 years. Doesn't sound like a lot, but our population in 2022 was estimated to be 3,350, and that works out to a 2.17% annual growth rate over those 4.5 years. That's almost twice what the state is growing, and the state's growing fast. This number only includes 12 of the 140 townhomes being built at Hawkins Meadows. And again, they will continue to be built out over this next 12 to 16 months. It doesn't include the 30-lot subdivision that's before you today. It doesn't include the 220 apartments that are proposed for the Yadkin River District development. And it doesn't include what will probably be another 100 to 150 individual zoning permits that I'll issue over the next 4.5 years. So by a conservative estimate, by 2030, our population will have grown from 3,350 to somewhere between 4,700 and 5,000 people. And that begs the question, where are those people going to go? This slide shows you that to the southwest, we can't grow because our border is common with the town of Salisbury, city of Salisbury. To the southeast, we are blocked by the municipal boundary of East Spencer. To the north and northeast, we have dedicated most of this property to commercial and industrial growth along the U.S. Highway 29 corridor and the Longs Ferry Road corridor. The blue arrows that are pointing to the North Carolina Finishing Company site and also to what I will call the Wallace site that wraps around the solar panel fields will be multi-use type developments. They will have some residential component. But the vast majority of our residential growth will take place where those green arrows are pointing, which is on the northwest side and the north side of Grants Creek, exactly where we're looking at today. So, planning for growth. I won't go into a lot of detail. Could have just put 2 words, urban sprawl, and then a big thing that said bad. Because urban sprawl to any planner and any municipal leader should be considered a bad thing. Urban sprawl has been correlated with increased energy use, pollution, traffic congestion, a decline in community distinctiveness and cohesiveness. In addition, by increasing the physical and environmental footprint of metropolitan areas, the phenomenon leads to destruction of wildlife habitat and to the fragmentation of remaining natural areas. So on that scale, efficient growth to the left and efficient growth to the right, infill development is quite honestly the very best you can have. And Spencer is seeing a lot of that, and that's a great thing. A lot of lots that were considered unbuildable 20 years ago are now considered prime lots for building. And because those lots already have roads in front of them and have water and sewer available to them and power lines available to them, they are the best, most efficient kind of growth we can have. Right next to that is high density growth, then medium density, and then as we get into low density, we're reaching out there to become sprawl, and we don't want sprawl. Sprawl's bad. You as a board actually have gone through a process, and this was the original one that I first found. August 2008, you created what was called your comprehensive land use plan. And it was predicting out to 2025 when it was written, trying to imagine where growth would go and how you would grow this town. And that was the future land use development concept map that was included in that plan. And as you can see, the area that I've said needs to be a higher density residential development. At that time, they were listing as agricultural residential. And in this zoning map that was adopted along with that, all those green areas on the northwest side of Grants Creek, those AG zoned properties require 2.5 acres per house. So you are actually causing sprawl by that zoning classification. You are scattering the houses out over a wider area. You're using up land. It's very, very inefficient growth. Luckily, in May of 2022, this town, your board, went through a revision of that land use plan. And during that process, you adopted some of this language, this specifically about the Hawkinstown Road area, that suggested that this area was prime for high density residential development. That's why when you adopt your consistency statement, you are actually being truthful, because it is consistent with your comprehensive land use plan. I was going to try to find you some slides to show you what sprawl looked like. And I can usually go on the internet and find stuff like that and cut and paste it in. It dawned on me we already had a great example of sprawl, Hawkinstown Road. In 1955, that's what Hawkinstown Road looked like in farmland. And then strip development came along. And all of the land that faced Hawkinstown Road, or most of the land, had small houses built upon it. There were a few side roads built, a few small subdivisions. But that's about 30 houses on that stretch of road. If back in 1955, the planning departments would have been for Rowan County, because that was part of Rowan County at that time, not Spencer, not Spencer's ETJ or even Salisbury's. They could have done this. They could have said, hey, let's not do sprawl, let's do high density residential development. Let's put one townhome development and one small single family home development, and let's leave all the rest of it as farmland. And then you would have preserved that whole area out there as it was in its natural state, or as it was for Samuel Hawkins when he was farming all that land. But you would have created 170 home sites. So this is the kind of development that's good. This is the kind of development that is inefficient. I won't say it's bad, but it is inefficient as far as government services go. This already exists, so we can't start with a blank slate. But what we do from this point forward should be the most efficient type of growth we can do, which is higher density development. We are building, or the developer is building, a 140 unit townhome complex, which is needed in our community. There are a lot of these developments on the Salisbury end of Old Monksville Road and Hawkinstown Road. This is a 30 unit single family home subdivision is what's proposed. The lots are of similar size to those lots that are already there. The homes that will be built on those lots will be of equal or better quality than the homes that are there. As Mr. Miller asked, this subdivision will have all the amenities that we require of subdivision: sidewalks, playground for the kids, paved road, curb and gutter, stormwater collection system. So it's going to be all the good stuff that we need to have with all of our subdivisions. We are at the first part of this process, although we've been doing this for several months now. The preliminary site plan has been presented, and you've seen it, and I've reviewed it and made some comments on it. You are now considering the rezoning and annexation of these parcels, or this parcel. Once that is done, we will continue on with the site plan review process, which will include making sure all of the structural components of the subdivision meet the requirements of our ordinance, and also, as we have learned from some of the concerns along the way, add some buffering between the existing homes and the new development that are not actually required by the ordinance, but the developers agreed that he would do those. After it is built out, because this is a single family home subdivision, all the lots will be subdivided out, and then it will be up to the developer whether he builds the homes or sells the lots for other people to build the homes. And then you'll have 30 new homes and 30 new families in the town of Spencer. With that, I will be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Blunt. The board will open it up for questions that you may have. Ms. Sledge.
One of the questions I wondered about is what, with the difference in the lot values based on what existing homes are and these new homes going in, what's that going to do to the current home values of those folks who now are living in homes based on $138,000 value?
That is a good question. Home values, trying to get back to one of the site plans so you can see that. Home values are based on an appraisal process by Rowan County. They normally do it every 4 years. That may be delayed a little bit due to state statute changes. But they evaluate the value of the home based on comparable homes in the comparable areas. So the fact that a home that is currently valued at $100,000, the fact that a $400,000 home is built across the street will have very little impact on their property value, because the $100,000 home will be compared to other $100,000 homes. That's not to say that their values won't go up. In the last revaluation, the average increase for residential property in this area was 40%, which was a shock to all of us, certainly a shock to me. But that is based on the high demand for homes. As the demand goes up and the supply doesn't go up, then the value and the cost of the homes goes up. So it is important that we continue to have a pipeline to get new homes built so that we won't have more demand than we have supply.
And the other question I had was, how much of that Wesley Heights development has actually been built out? That's where this property is located. Is that
I was
right?
getting ready to say one home. And again, let me see if that's the one on there. Okay. I think that one home that you see
In that corner.
in that opening that I cut into that site plan would have been a part of the Wesley Heights subdivision. The house to the left of that may have also been part of that subdivision. I'm not 100% sure of that. I could not find a plat of the Wesley Heights subdivision. It was just referenced in the deeds. So I didn't actually have a map of it.
Thank you.
Will there be a buffer around that house on the right-hand side of the screen?
I wish you could see, if you look over here to the upper left where it says parcel 324.05.201, right above that type it says 10-foot type C buffer. So even in this preliminary site plan, he was showing some buffering between the new lots and the existing lots. What we will also ask is that he put the same type of buffering across the lower left-hand corner to protect it from that other home.
Other questions for you? Okay. So as there are no other questions, we will, as Mr. Blunt mentioned, we need to take each of these ordinances under consideration separately. So ordinance 26-07 is what we'll consider first, and that's an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the town of Spencer, North Carolina. So we will entertain a motion at this time.
I will make the motion to adopt ordinance 26-07, annexing Rowan County GIS system parcel 324.052 Hawkins Town Road.
All right, there is a motion by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion on the item at this time? Hearing none, we will vote. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? And that is approved unanimously. The next item for consideration is to consider ordinance 26-08. And that would be an ordinance to amend the town's official zoning map dated September 10th, 2024, to reflect rezoning Rowan County GIS system parcel 324052 at 607 Hawkinstown Road.
Move that we adopt ordinance 26-08, amending the town's official zoning map dated September 10th, 2024, rezoning Rowan County GIS system parcel 324052 at 607 Hawkinstown Road from agriculture to RMST zoning classification.
All right, there is a motion from Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sechrist. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Okay. And all opposed? And that is also approved unanimously.
And again, we need the statement of consistency.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the statement of consistency and reasonableness, stating that we find this rezoning is consistent in general with the town's comprehensive land use plan for requirements of North Carolina General Statutes 160D-605A. We further find this rezoning to be reasonable in all ways as prescribed by North Carolina General Statutes 160D-605B. This rezoning will be beneficial to the citizens of the town of Spencer.
There is a motion by Ms. Sledge. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. All right. Any further discussion? Second was Ms. Stanley. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of the statement of consistency and reasonableness? All right. All opposed? And that is approved unanimously. All right. The next item is item 11 on our agenda, and that's ordinance 26-09 that would approve a temporary road closure on South Yadkin Avenue for the purpose of facilitating a neighborhood block party on August 8th, 2026. Mr. Franzese.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the board. We've received an application that staff's been working with the applicant for a block party road closure. And as part of that, we would like for the board to consider adopting the ordinance provided to approve that upon our recommendation. But essentially, the neighbors on the this one block of South Yadkin Avenue between 5th and 6th Streets are organizing a back-to-school block party. It is open. It would be open to any members of the public who would like to go to it, and there are provisions in place for the neighbors to ensure that everything's proceeding as we would like them to and such. But other than providing some cones to them to block the road when the time for the closure comes, it's pretty much going to be handled by the applicant. But we're seeking your approval of this request.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Franzese. Board, any questions on this road closure request?
Have they requested any public safety measures other than the road closure? Would we have any off-duty police officers or anything like that?
They have not requested that due to the size of it. We're not recommending that as necessary. But no, they have not. They have not recommended that.
Question. I got a question. What I see the person in charge of two names. What group is it?
It's not a group. It's folks that live on that block, and they're seeking to have an event for they and their neighbors.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions, board?
Do we have any idea about how many people?
I don't have that part of their application in front of me. I believe they provided an estimate, but if I recall, I think there were 3 houses on the block that they were anticipating being impacted by the block closure. So it seemed like a small scale type of event.
Okay. Other questions, board?
Did they list hours? I didn't see.
Yes, so the hours would be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the closure. I think the time for the event would be taking place in the afternoon. Get back to that page.
I missed it.
I believe it was starting at either 12 or 1 o'clock. And going to be done by 4 o'clock, but they were needing some time for setup and breakdown.
Has anybody approached Susan Morris about using that pump? Or are they going to use that pump?
That question, I don't know. I do not know the answer to that question. What they've written is that they're seeking to, this is talking about the street closure.
Yeah, I understand that. But they're going to probably be using their parking spaces.
So I don't have the answer to your question in front of me.
No. I think it'd be good to make sure they inform the Morrises what they're doing. I hope they have.
I would hope they would as well. And what we can do is make sure that communication is in place between now and then.
Okay, board, anything else on this one?
It says the town will place signs. Are those the standard signs that we have that say road closed, or is it?
Joel, would you be able to comment on the road closure signs that we would be able to provide for something like this?
Other questions, board?
One question, will there be like social media information put out for this closure? I know we're seeing it, but will it go on the website that these roads are going to be closed during this time?
We did not have plans for that type of advertisement, just due to the signage being able to take care of it for those that are traveling in the area. And the other part is, just due to the nature of the grid system, it's not like it will cause a significant redirection other than one block. So if this were an area where say it was the only way to get somewhere and it was going to cause people to go several miles out of the way, we would need a bit more of a announcement about it.
Any other questions, board?
I want to make one more comment. I think it's great to have this back to school event where you're supplying school supplies. But I see are they selling hamburgers and fish as far as that goes? Are they making money off this?
What they wrote on their application was it was not going to be for sale. It was going to be.
Yeah, if you look at the ordinance, Mr. Miller, it specifically says distribution of free food.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's fine.
Yeah, essentially, this is a kind of a, if folks could accommodate this in their yards, they might have done it in their yards. But I think just due to the size of the lots there, it was an idea to give them some space to do, what some folks might try to do in a backyard somewhere.
Do we have any kind of an ordinance about having block parties? I mean, because that's something I could do on my street. I mean, my street though is a state road.
Right. So
not at your location.
Not your road. Your city road.
Do what?
Your city road at your location.
Oh, okay.
You can use my house.
So there is language in our town code, which is what led to us putting this before you.
Okay.
And so what we had, if folks want to use town property like a park or something like a street, we approach it with our event permit and then take it from there. Because this involves the closure of a street, that's why it's coming before you with this ordinance to approve the closure.
Board, anything else? Okay. If not, we will consider a motion on this ordinance at this time.
I make a motion to consider adopting ordinance 2609 approving a temporary road closure on South Yadkin Avenue
A motion by Ms. Moody. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed? And that ordinance is approved unanimously. We will now move to item 11, to consider adopting resolution 26-08 to direct the clerk to investigate petition to annex parcel 049003 at 850 Hackett Street. Mr. Blunt, I'm assuming that you are going to cover items 12, 13, and 14 with this
15,
presentation.
16, and 17.
Well, okay.
I'm getting paid overtime tonight. This, as you've come to understand, is required by state statute that we go through a couple of what we have come to call preliminary steps to annexations. So I will give you a very quick presentation just so you will feel comfortable with authorizing those steps. We will have a more in-depth presentation to you later when you're actually asked to approve an annexation. So I'll go through this very quickly. This is 850 Hackett Street, parcel 049003. It's been officially called in the past the Fisher Lamb site for economic development purposes. This is a 98-acre site on the north side of Hackett Street across the street from Innispec. It's part of the North Carolina Finishing Company Industrial Park development that you're aware of and familiar with. It was previously a farm and home site. The house has since been removed. The requested annexation, as most of these are, is so that they can connect to municipal water and sewer to continue their development efforts for that property. It's already zoned industrial, so it will not require a rezoning. This is the site in blue, and we'll focus in a little closer. Again, it's across the street from Innispec. There's a railroad line that runs down the southern part of it. Natural gas lines run across the north part of it. This is how it is in relation to all the other properties out there that you have seen over the last couple of years that have been annexed into the town for various commercial, industrial, and distribution purposes. This is a survey map of the site turned on its side, so it looks confusing to look at it from that perspective. This is the one that's probably most edifying to you, is the blue part. It makes it a part of the proposed industrial development of the old North Carolina Finishing Company site. The Fisher Lamb and the North Carolina Finishing Company site will be combined into what you see there as an industrial park with, I think, 14 buildings and a little over 1 million square feet of industrial space. At some point, we will give you better data on this, but the annexation questions always include the cost-benefit analysis, the same costs we just mentioned on Hawkinstown Road. But in this case, the benefits are much bigger because these are industrial buildings based on a very conservative $100 per square foot, and the square footage shown on the conceptual drawing, it would be an increase of $87 million to our tax base, increase your tax revenue by something over $500,000 a year. It's not going to be built out next year, so don't get excited. These things take a long time. They usually happen by tipping points. So you wait for a long, long time to get the first building built, first couple buildings built, and all of a sudden, in a couple years' time, all the rest of them get built. So this is a great benefit to our town. All we're asking of you tonight is to approve the preliminary steps, which is to direct the clerk to investigate the petition. Because she is so efficient in her job, she has already done that, so she can actually report back to you tonight, and then you will have to adopt another resolution setting the public hearing. Be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. The board will open it up for questions.
Is that part of the brownfield study? Is it still ongoing on that property or not?
It would have been, except this site, when they did the phase one, has never been polluted based on that. It's always been a farm.
Yeah, as a reminder, that particular parcel was never a part of the finishing company site.
Okay.
So it's always been separate from that. It just so happens the folks that have the option on the finishing company site also have the option on or chose to purchase the Fisher Lamb site.
And is there, if you're coming down the interstate, there's a house that sits somewhere in there that's still there. Is that house occupied? I don't know exactly where that's. It's there somewhere, I think. Close
So
to the
that house is actually, I believe, that is owned by Innispec with the purchase of the recent purchase of additional property that they did about a year or two ago.
Okay.
And they have an agreement with the property owner that while they are alive, they have rights to continue living there. But that's not related to this property.
Okay, so like
On this survey drawing, you can see, and I wish I had a pointer that worked, but you see where the railroad is running along Hackett Street there. There are two structures shown in the heart of.
Mike may be able to help you with a zoom in a cursor.
Mike, if you know what I'm talking about, which may be doubtful.
He lost it.
There we go.
Okay, scroll it back over to, there you go. The other way.
There you go.
There you go.
Two structures.
So there's structures right there. That was the existing house and barn that were on this particular property. They have since been destroyed. That's the only structures that were shown based on the survey.
Okay.
And I don't think you could have seen those from the interstate. The house that the mayor's talking about is
Across
on the south side of
Hackett.
Hackett Street.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to see that from the interstate either. So
No, I don't think you can.
not sure exactly what you're seeing. Okay. They're reported to be ghosts in that area, so it could be a ghost house that we're not aware of.
Okay. Good to know.
The only one you can see from the interstate is the one that is on Hinkle. It's actually on Hinkle, which is the main drive going into Innispec.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a totally
Yeah,
separate
okay.
property.
That could be what it is.
Yep. Board, any other questions?
I got a question. Hackett Street, is that a city maintained road or is that a state?
North Carolina DOT road.
How about the rich street that follows it? I think that's 5 Row Street.
5 Row is DOT.
It's DOT too, so it doesn't make that's their responsibility.
And again, the plan here is they are pushing to have an industrial access road that would go through the edge of Innispec's property that would then connect so that they are eliminating truck
That
traffic
big turn.
off of
Yeah.
Hackett and around those residences.
I understand that.
And we have been contacted by other property owners in the area who are aware of the industrial development that's proposed, and they are interested in getting into that process themselves. So I think you'll see more and more of this area be developed out.
As far as residential or commercial?
Commercial.
Commercial. All this property outside of that area, going back Hackett Street, back towards the railroad tracks, Main Street, how's that zoned as far as that goes?
All of that area is zoned industrial.
Even though there's houses there.
Even though there's houses. The presentation I talked about planning for growth back in 2008 when that comprehensive land use plan was done, it was a very broad stroke to say this whole area should be developed industrial over time. We have since recognized that things like the small lots along US Highway 29 are not going to be industrial. They're going to be commercial, retail, and residential. These areas, for a long time, will stay residential. But over time, what you're seeing there to the west of the Innispec building has been purchased by Innispec. They bought 40 acres there, and then the large properties to the west of that are the property owners that have contacted us interested in being a part of this development pattern.
And as a reminder for those on the board, a lot of folks may not realize it, but back about a decade ago, I think there was an intent around this facility, around this property, for a large industrial facility to go in. Kind of fell through, but at that time, a number of the folks that had residences in that area were interested in selling to be a part of that. There are a few folks I know in that area that are against selling. But then I think there are some folks that recognize, that area has traditionally at least for the finishing company area, traditionally been industrial and see an opportunity to be a part of that. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, most of those people are older adults and they'll probably eventually die. As far as that goes.
Let's not kill them off too quickly.
Yeah, let's not.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't, but they're generally older folks as far as they go.
Yeah, don't talk about old people like us.
None of us are getting any.
Anybody
None of
else-
us are getting any
anybody
younger.
on here is older.
None of us are getting any younger.
There's a particularly nice lady who owns about 200 acres of that donut hole that you're seeing there that I've run into from time to time, and she promises me she will never die because she doesn't want to see that.
I know exactly who she is.
I think
She's
she's
kidding to
family.
me. Yeah, she's kidding me.
Board, any other questions at this point for Mr. Watt?
So let me just get one piece of bearing. Now, that land adjoins the railroad. It's on the right side of the railroad going down. Is that correct?
The main railroad line runs on the northwest side of that property. There's a spur line that goes out to the Duke Energy plant that runs along the south side of that property. So it has great rail access, and that's why we've been able to get some fairly large grants from North Carolina Railroad to help develop this property.
The intent is that site, as well as finishing company site just north of there, would be rail-served facilities. As a reminder, in a spec, they currently have a rail spur off of that secondary spur that goes out to the old to the old Buck Steam Station location. That is not really currently used by Duke anymore because they're not hauling coal out there. But it is used by Innispec, and Innispec's actually in the process of adding a second rail spur. So I think what you're going to be seeing is that whole area will be more rail-served industry in that location. There's been a lot of interest in that, and that's why the North Carolina Railroad Company has invested and provided grant funding for these sites.
Okay. And to carry on with that, you're aware of the development on Willow Creek, the large industrial site that you can actually see a portion of in this map, and then the medical office building south of that. North of that, there are several properties that may be ripe for development in the future, and that rail spur may be one of the things that makes them valuable for development. So we're glad that rail spur runs out there. We're glad the natural gas main runs through there. We're glad the Duke Energy power lines run through there. And we're glad I-85 runs through there. So we've got everything.
And I think the other key thing for us as a board, as well as for our residents to remember, is because of all the utilities are currently there, the transportation infrastructure, it allows us to really be able to focus that industrial development that we as a town need for a diversified tax base that we maybe don't have so much of right now. It allows us to really focus that in a single location as opposed to having that all over. And so, so it really allows us to have an industrial core right along the I-85 interstate.
All it needs is a road.
Correct. It needs an industrial access road.
And we continue to work on that. I promise not to die until we get that road built.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, board? All right. So item 12 on our agenda is we'll consider adopting resolution 26-08, which would direct our clerk to investigate a petition to annex this particular parcel at 850 Hackett Street. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 26-08?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Moody. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sledge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed? And that is approved. And Mrs. Ward, in her amazing abilities, has already investigated this. And so Mrs. Ward will consider you presenting the certificate of sufficiency.
Yes, and I found it to be sufficient.
All right, board, you have that in your packet. Is there a motion to accept the certificate of sufficiency for this petition?
I move that we accept the certificate of sufficiency for the petition to annex the parcel of 049003 at 850 Hackett Street.
All right. There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sechrist. Any discussion? All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is also approved unanimously. All right. The next item is to consider adopting Resolution 26-09, which would set the public hearing date for this proposed annexation. And in your packet, you will see that information, and that is proposing a date of August the 6th, 2026 at 5:30. That would be our pre-agenda meeting for the month of August. Is there any discussion, or is there a motion to adopt Resolution 26-09, setting this hearing date?
I move to adopt the resolution 2609, fixing the date of the public hearing on the question of an annexation pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 168-31.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sledge, for that motion. Is there a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is also approved unanimously. Okay. We will move on to item 15, 16, and 17. Mr. Blunt, this is related to consideration of a petition to annex parcels 044077 and 044019 on Lincoln Avenue.
Before I move into this one, I just want to reassure you that although this seems like we're rushing through the process, this process started a month and a half ago. Yeah. And material was provided to Ms. Ward at that time, and she did find problems, and she brings those problems to me, and we resolve those problems, things having to do with signatures and the surveys having the wrong stamps on them and things of that nature. So while we're asking y'all to rush through this process, we are taking our time and doing it correctly so that you won't get in trouble and we won't get in trouble.
And I will add that the other thing that is very appreciated by the development community is that they continue to talk about how our planning department has streamlined processes and made it easy to work with. They're very clear on the expectations, and they indicate that they don't get that with all municipalities, and so it's a breath of fresh air, at least for me, to hear that our staff is client service is at the top of their list. So thank you, Mr. Blunt and Mrs. Ward.
And little things like this, some municipalities would take 3 months. They would do this at 3 separate meetings. And that's why we ask you to do it at one meeting to get it done quicker. This one is a very small annexation, parcels 044077 and 019. That little bitty yellow square that you can see in the upper middle part of that is where this is located. We'll do our normal zoom in, and you can see that this is off Hollywood Drive on Lincoln, 2 existing lots that are now being developed for duplexes. And because the owner wanted to connect to the existing water line, we asked if they would consider annexation, and they preferred to be annexed. They wanted to be in the city. These are always questionable in my mind, whether we want to be picking up little pieces here and there and scattering out things. The purpose of this one being a logical annexation is found in this map. Last year, you voted to approve an annexation of 11 lots, 10 lots maybe, again for duplexes on Lincoln Avenue. So this whole area, by the fact that water and sewer is available in certain areas, over time, this whole area, probably not all of it, but a lot of it will be annexed into the community, and this will become a more cohesive neighborhood for our community. So there's the original 1903 plat of what was going to be Washington Heights, and the 2 lots that are now under consideration. This shows the initial developer's plan, all those lots in blue. I can tell you about that one a little bit. They originally were planning to put single-family homes on it. They had worked through the process with Salisbury Rural Utilities to slightly increase the water line to carry those number of houses. The sewer goes off to the west, so sewer wasn't a problem. But then they changed their mind and decided they wanted to do duplexes. So they doubled the number of households, that doubled the demand for water, and Salisbury Land says you're going to have an even bigger water line. So they're currently in the design phase, but they will be building out these duplexes. This one's short and sweet. We suggest that you approve the annexation. We'll get to the other information in a later presentation. Again, tonight is just the preliminary steps that you've just gone through. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Board, any questions for Mr. Blunt on this one?
So at this point, nothing's been built on those 10 lots that we approved
No,
because they need additional water supply.
but they have got to get their water and sewer taps before they can get their building permits, and they are still working through that process with Salisbury Land Utilities.
So the city of Salisbury is trying to increase that water line down Lincoln Avenue.
They are.
Okay.
You might have noticed on the one slide that showed these two lots have been graded. So they cleared the lots. And if you noticed in the lower right-hand corner, there's a fire hydrant on the lot.
Right.
Yeah, that one right there. So this one, he proceeded to get started and then realized he needed to hook into that water line. Salisbury Land Utilities knows to tell them to come see us when they want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, Board? If not, we will consider a motion for Resolution 26-10, which would direct the clerk to investigate petition to annex parcels 044077 and 044019 on Lincoln Avenue.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Moody. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by, I'm going to give it to Ms. Stanley. She's right beside me. I heard it first. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed? And that is approved unanimously. All right, and Mrs. Ward is good again. And so we will hear her report on the certificate of sufficiency.
I also found this one to be sufficient, and as Mr. Blunt said, we discussed things and sorted it out. So that's why.
Okay. So a certificate of sufficiency is presented to you, Board, tonight for this petition to annex. Are there any questions? And if not, is there a motion to accept the certificate of sufficiency?
So moved.
So motion by Ms. Sledge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is approved unanimously. And then finally, we will consider adopting Resolution 26-11 to set the public hearing date for proposed annexation for our pre-agenda meeting for the month of August. Remind me again, Mr. Blunt, what is that date?
The 6th, maybe?
August 6th at 5:30 or approximately shortly thereafter. Is there a motion to set the public hearing date for August 6th?
No.
Okay, there is a motion for Resolution 26-11. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is by Ms. Moody. The second is by Ms. Sledge. Any discussion? All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is also approved. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Item 18 is, consider the addition to the agenda that we had, and that is to review the application process for the COPS hiring program for potential grant application. We'll invite Chief File forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening.
Appreciate you letting us add a little addition on here on an already heavy agenda tonight. I will certainly try to keep this kind of brief. We received an email last week from Congressman McDowell's, one of his staff members, advising us that he would consider it a privilege to write a recommendation for us to receive this grant. Now, obviously, that doesn't guarantee you'll get it, but it's always helpful when the congressman's willing to write a recommendation letter for you. So this grant is handled by the U.S. Department of Justice. It's called the COPS Hiring Grant. Effectively, it is utilized to fund unfunded positions, if you will. So, we've got a few frozen spots right now. This grant is a 3-year grant that provides up to $125,000. So it would not cover 100%, obviously, as it requires a 25% match. but it certainly is $125,000. So I took this to Peter. I certainly thought it was worth us looking into. Unfortunately, it's a very fast one. I will have to write this grant this week to go ahead and get it submitted. So we wanted to bring that before the board and see if that was something that you wanted me to look into doing and see if we can maybe receive this grant. Again, 25% will be our portion of it that we would have to put towards it. It is on the federal fiscal cycle, so it will be a grant that could begin on October 1st of this year. However, there is a 5-year draw period on the funding. So they recognize that there's going to be a delay in finding a suitable applicant. So they know we're not going to draw money on October 1st. So it likely would not be expending a whole year the first year. So we would see the benefit of this for a few budget cycles coming as we utilize those funds. And I'll certainly try to answer any questions you have about it.
Thank you, Chief File. Board, are there any questions?
I left my notes at home. I did look into this. What is the starting salary and benefits for a police officer? I believe this calls for an entry-level position. Is that right?
It does. The way it works is now you can actually bring somebody in that is above an entry-level position, but then the municipality is responsible for the difference. Right. So there's only about a $2,500 difference between an entry-level and bringing in somebody that is above that level, typically when you walk in the door. We're just over 50,000 on an entry-level position currently. But then you have to factor in benefits costs.
Exactly. So you don't have a real answer about what the total compensation would be with salary and benefits.
I know. I believe Peter may have that in front of him. I know Heather had looked into it for us. Yes.
So as I get this one pulled up.
And as a reminder, board, we do have a frozen position because of the budget cuts that we had to make, and so that would enable us to be able to pay for that. But still, we'd have to figure out where that additional match comes from.
So depending on the benefits, of course, when folks have the ability to cover certain amounts of dependents or not on their, so the range for this, including the benefits, would be somewhere between 73 and 79,000 all in for a full position. And so if we back out our 25% of that would be somewhere between $18,000 and $20,000, but that's for a full fiscal year.
Right.
And so what we were looking at this afternoon is if we were successful with this grant, our timing would likely be that we would hopefully be able to start using it towards the last few months of this fiscal year, because at this amount, if the choice was to say you get the grant and you start October, we actually don't think we'd be able to recommend it right now based on our ability to come up with match funding.
Right.
But if we can phase it so it starts later in the fiscal year, and again, we have that 5-year period of performance, we think that would work, and then we could then work towards budgeting that match for the next several years rather than the full cost of the position. So that's where we think it makes sense to pursue this.
So even at the higher range, I just did the calculation, at that higher range with benefits and everything, 79,000, basically what we would be potentially looking at would be, even if it was for just half of the fiscal year, starting at the beginning of the new calendar year, is still under $10,000 for the match.
Okay.
Of course, we'd have to come up with the full 25%
right
the following year.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one of the other questions I had is, do we have a candidate who would be, what I'm saying, I guess, is that a range that's competitive? Would we be able to hire an individual at that level?
Right. Yeah, we certainly have officers now that are at that base range. So yes, I think we could identify a candidate, and that would be obviously knowing the funding wouldn't even become available until October. That's why we would not anticipate we'd be able to hire anybody before New Year's anyway. So it would be like the mayor mentioned. I think we would be under that $10,000 mark certainly. But yeah, we would definitely have to have a competitive process. The point in this grant is not solely just to give somebody a position. They want you to kind of target a few areas. with community policing and crime prevention being one of them. So, one of my goals has been to get a crime prevention officer. A lot of the bigger organizations have that, but it's where you go out and you do a little more community involvement as far as checking businesses and schools and providing residential checks to the houses, recommendations for cameras and security systems and the such. So this position would actually be tailored towards that. So even though it's bringing back one to kind of meet the metrics that the grant wants, it would kind of allow us to go ahead and roll that out. So.
Yeah, I saw the different categories that it could be used for, and
Right.
I thought school resource, but that's already funded.
Yeah, well, yeah, we actually we're just in a meeting about that earlier today. So yeah, that is funded now. So which we were kind of a little bit of an exception to that rule that we were funded prior to everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, it is funded now. So we would kind of lean more towards the community policing aspect of it and the crime prevention portion of it.
Okay. One of the other things I wondered about is by accepting this grant, are we inviting federal agents to come in as ICE agents?
I don't believe so. I don't think that's the intent of it. We've actually, so this would not be the first DOJ COPS grant we've had. We actually closed one out, I believe, in 2024 that we were successful in. I believe we had approved it maybe under a previous board, but it was like a 5-year period. It was all for equipment-based funding. So yeah, we've worked with them in the past. So it is very heavy on reporting. It's going to be heavy for me to do because it's going to be a lot of paperwork on my side. But as far as other than that, no, I don't believe there's any real negatives I've ever heard about it. So it's this is kind of a grant program that's really been around for my whole career. Whenever I was first hired, there was actually an officer that had been hired a few years before me, and he was actually funded off of this program when he was initially hired. So it's been around for at least 20 or 25 years at this point, probably longer than that, truthfully.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's answered the questions I had.
Okay. Other questions, board members?
I have a question, but I think tonight's theme, as with most of our meetings, is the growth of our community. And I think before I joined this board, this community especially understands what critically understaffed law enforcement looks like and how that impacts the community. And so I just want to say once again, I'm super appreciative of the out-of-the-box thinking in a way that we can unfreeze a position potentially. And so I just think that this is a phenomenal solution right now.
And I'm always in favor of using somebody else's money.
When you see 6 figures in
it's
it,
your money.
we like it.
It is your money. Don't
Well,
forget.
it is my money, yes.
It looks like
our president.
I believe the COPS grant. I just looked at that. It looks like it dates back to a bill in 1994. So going on a little over 30 years of it now.
That wasn't 30 years ago. Hush.
Okay, 32.
Hey, like we said earlier, nobody here's getting any younger. All right, board, we'll consider a motion on this. What is being asked is to authorize Chief File to seek U.S. DOJ COPS hiring program grant funding.
I move to give the approval for the grant proposal.
All right, there's a motion from Ms. Sledge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed, and that is approved unanimously. All right, thank you, Chief. All right, we'll move to our departmental reports. Mr. Blunt. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
There is more. Instead of just my normal report, I did want to give you one tidbit of information. The Spencer Board of Adjustment met for the first time in 4.5 years last night to consider granting a variance for property in the northern part of our community, a dimensional problem as far as the use of a lot. The board had good spirited discussion and debate over the various components of that issue, and they did vote to grant the variance as requested. So if any of y'all have been hearing about that situation, the variance has been granted. As far as my normal planning report, you get my normal comments. You have my written report. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. Board, any questions for Mr. Blunt?
Talk about EB 5861 funding model.
as usual, we're trying to be creative to find a way to come up with the matching funds for the EB 5861 funding. We have provided the decision makers at NCDOT with a memorandum and some maps that sort of redraws the scope of the project to include the work that we're doing in Spencer Woods at this time. And if they agree to the reconfiguring of the scope, then we are asking them to allow us to use the grant monies that we're using to build the trails and the trailhead as our matching funds. If they agree to that, then we will finally have access to the EB 5861 funds. As a part of that process, we are rethinking the original design concept of EB 5861. Originally, it was a 10-foot wide paved multi-use path from the creek to the Yadkin River, starting at 3rd Street. The evolution took it to 7th Street and connected it to the 7th Street trailhead at Standback Forest and connected it to the trails in Standback Forest, and actually, hopefully in the not too distant future, connected to a greenway connector back along the creek to Salisbury. Along with that, we came with the realization that for very little planning money, NCDOT will provide us with bike lanes when they do their resurfacing project. So in areas where we've been able to put in bike lanes and where we will be able to put them in the future, instead of doing that 10-foot wide paved multi-purpose trail, we will use the bike lanes and a 5-foot sidewalk. That configuration being somewhat cheaper than the original plan. So in addition to expanding the scope of the plan, we hope we are reducing the price, and then the monies that are available through EB 5861 will be adequate to do most, if not all of that. Keep your fingers crossed.
Thank you. Okay. Board, any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Blunt.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and go to bed.
All right. Chief, I will invite you back up for code enforcement and the police report.
I'll try to do less talking this time. I've provided the customary monthly report. For this month, we had 38 code enforcement cases, and 14 of those were already voluntarily abated. Again, door hanger status. Remember, that's our new status on there. And then looking at our 2026 year to date, we've had 195 cases thus far, 137 of those voluntary abatements. So we're still running over that 70% mark. And as I've mentioned, the further we go in the year, the further that percentage goes up. So we certainly are happy with the numbers we're seeing currently. And there's no shortage of high grass. This weather has ran it up. So if you get complaints, I believe Preston is hammering those cases out as fast as he can, but they are all over right now. Look, that grass grew about a foot in the last week. So.
It's hard to mow when it's raining.
I was going to say, I don't know that it's the grass that's growing. I think it went dormant. It's the weeds that are growing. At least that's what it seems like.
That's right. But I'll certainly answer any questions you have about the code enforcement report this month.
All right. Board, questions on code enforcement? Okay, we'll move to police.
Alrighty, perfect. Again, customary PD report for this month, 2,044 events. I'm sure everybody's aware of the mess that we had yesterday due to the wreck on I-85. So we had some extra staff out on Salisbury Avenue and did a little social media. Fortunately, we only have one additional wreck, I believe. Maybe 1 or 2 tickets that had to be given out. A little crazy driving for people getting frustrated about the backup. But unfortunately, when 85 is shut down, they all come to us. So that was a hot topic this morning, I believe. But aside from that, the month has went well. We have, we had 2 officers that were in field training. We have released one fully, so he is now assigned on our night shift rotation. The second one, still with me back in the back, Officer Campbell. So this is our lateral. Everybody kind of put a name with a face. He's our lateral that came from South Carolina, so he was the one that was able to lateral here and get his North Carolina certification. Had to do some update training, so I believe you're about 2 or 3 weeks, 4 or less.
He's welcome to come up
and he'll be finishing that up. So you're welcome to walk up. So
Especially
yes,
since you had to sit through the whole meeting. You should
The
at least
whole
come up
meeting.
here.
and I didn't even ask him to do it. He just did it on his own.
Good evening, Board, Mayor.
Good evening.
First off, I'd like to formally introduce myself. I'm Brandon Jenkins. I currently live right outside of Spencer. I have family that lives in Spencer. So far, this has been an excellent department to work with. I will say that. Been in law enforcement since 2021, and Chief Powell afforded me the opportunity to come work for y'all. And that has been an excellent choice out of all the other departments in the area. I believe they chose the right one.
Well, good. Thank you. Thanks for choosing Spencer, and welcome to the team.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate you coming to serve.
I promise I didn't pay him to say that.
Yeah.
But we are very fortunate on that. So as we're transitioning, we're for years, really since 2021 when I came in as chief, we were trying to get this model to where no officer went alone. So we are very, very close to that, where we don't have any single officers working anymore. So we're really trying to push that model. We had to kind of forego that ACE team right now to push towards the double 24 coverage is what we like to see, at least 2 people. So these late night calls, you're not going to random houses by yourself anymore. So we're certainly trying to push towards that. And if we're able to secure this grant, that's going to kind of push us over the edge to where we can ensure we have that. I think give us a little flexibility, start getting a little depth on the ranks, and that way when people are out for training or out sick, we've got 2 out on medical right now. So when we've got those issues that come up, we won't have to worry about dipping back down to a single car running the street by themselves. So, but if you have any questions about the monthly PD report or operations, I'll try to answer those.
Okay. Board, any questions for Chief Powell?
It's not a question, but at the 4th of July event here, fireworks over Spencer, your presence was very much appreciated. One of the vendors about lost a tent, and he said if the police department had not been there to help him out, he would still be probably chasing it all the way to Lexington.
I think they all had to hang on to it. That storm came up quick, so everybody kind of had to pull it down. So,
but yeah, it was it was really good to see the presence of our police officers here, and I know you had people across the street as well.
Certainly. I think we worked about 6 over here that night total. So. Event went off good, so no issues, and we like those no issues nights. So.
Right. All right. Thank you, sir. Chief Lanning will bring you up for the fire department report. Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I don't know that all of us have enough money to get him up here again. Mayor and Board, good evening again. You have my prepared report. Again, just want to highlight and remind that fire camp starts Monday. We'll have a graduation ceremony out front in the town park at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, the 22nd. And working to try to get Pelicans here to be able to supply snow cones for all the children, all the attendees. So please feel free to join us. I know I appreciate it, the children, the parents. To have the community support really means a lot. The other thing, and thanks to Alderwoman Sledge, she had sent me an email yesterday. Me and town manager spoke about it today. So the Leary Foundation is a foundation created by actor Dennis Leary. The Worcester 6 fire occurred December 3rd of '99, where 6 firemen died, one of which was his cousin. And so he formed this foundation. It's one of the only foundations in the country that donate funds strictly for fire protection training equipment and technology. And so what I would like is to, at this point, we're not necessarily submitting the grant, but get just feedback or approval to submit a letter of interest. Something that we had put in the budget was bailout kits. So currently, if there was to be a need for our firemen to bail out of a structure, you tuck and roll, right? We don't, there are systems in place to be able to do that safely in a controlled way. We, however, do not have that. And so we were able, I think, to $2,000 hit or miss to make a small temporary solution for that. However, utilizing this grant, it would be about $17,000 of grant monies with 0 match required would we be selected, and it would give every member of our organization their own personal bailout kit, so that would this ever happen, they would be covered and prepared to do that. And part of that cost would also be for 2 instructors from the company to come and do 8 hours of hands-on instruction with our staff, make sure that they are well equipped to be able to utilize that. Any questions?
Board, any questions or a motion to authorize the manager in chief to pursue that grant?
Well, I actually was thinking about a new fire department, but or dormitory facilities for the people we have. But yeah.
Well, and it was 2,500 to 25,000. I think was that range, if I recall right, for that grant.
I didn't get deep into the weeds with it, but
if we're successful with this, in the first, it appears the first stage is a letter of interest, and you, if they want you to, they would invite you to then submit a full application. At that point, we would come back and go to the next step. But if we were successful with all this, and this seemed like a good grant opportunity, and we were able to pursue other funding, I did notice a phrase on their website that said, if your needs are greater than that, talk to us, because they seem to be interested in flexible solutions. But I don't know if a full construction project is what they have in mind.
Well, I mean, I always dream big.
That's
so,
right.
I mean,
That's right.
If you ask for the sun, you might get the moon.
And if you don't ask, you won't get it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am very much in favor of authorizing our chief and the town manager, or whoever else he needs to work with, to submit this letter of interest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sledge. So there's a motion from Ms. Sledge on the floor. Is there a second to that?
Second.
There's a second from the Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right. All opposed? And that's approved unanimously. Thanks for bringing that to us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
If you're interested in seeing information about that, it's on Netflix. Brian Williams, who is a newscaster, did the interview of Dennis Leary in last week.
Yeah.
And there's a new program every Thursday. Brian
Very
Williams.
neat. Thanks for sharing. All right, Mr. Taylor, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening.
Just a couple things. You have my written report in front of you, but I do want to make a reminder to all citizens to keep the small debris out of the curbs. After the rain yesterday, we have cleaned out a lot of storm drains. So, and most of it is small debris. A lot of it happens to be the crepe myrtles, balloons, that kind of stuff. But there is a lot of leaf piles that are still popping up. So just doing that. We did receive our shipment of trash cans, and we've gone through the complete list of back orders that we had, so we're back up to even with those. The planter that's located in front of the train museum, I talked to Mike last week. We're trying to work it in the schedule next week. He was going to be on vacation this week, so next week we're trying to get that planter fixed. So, and that'll all be billed straight to the insurance company of the gentleman who hit it. So, we're still finalizing the plans for the paving this fall. I've been working with Alex at Kimley Horn. She's finalizing them. She sent them to me. I sent them back because something wasn't right. So, as soon as we get those, then it'll go out to bid, and we'll be doing that this fall, getting all those areas taken care of. We still have plenty of mulch, and I'm fixing to grind again, so just a pitch. If anyone wants any, please let me know. We still have some we need to move, so just let me know on that aspect. And Mike's got a few pictures. We had an event last night. That happens to be the shelter in Standback Park. So we did have a tree that went through the shelter, so we were working, trying to get in touch with the insurance company. We do have it taped off. There's a few pictures, Mike, if you want to scroll through them. That's the tree. Yeah. It took out at least one of the picnic tables. Not really sure about the other one yet. I haven't been able to get on that side of it. And that's just half of the tree. So we'll be, asking, we've actually blocked off part of the path. Joe went over and looked at the tree and, deemed it unfit because it is hollow in the bottom. So we have blocked off. There's the other part. So the part that's still standing is bigger than the part that fell. So we'll be looking with insurance and everything else how we can go about it. But the other part of that tree will be removed, and then we'll have to move forward. We looked up the plans today. We do have the plans for the shelter from the plans before, and the company who provided it, so we can actually go back and look at that. But first steps, baby steps right now. We're trying to get the insurance company involved and see if the adjuster needs to come, visually look at before we go into cleaning any of it up. So we'll be moving forward with that as soon as we hear from them.
I'm not an adjuster, but I'd call it a total loss.
Yeah. It's There may be a few pieces, like Steve was saying earlier. We might be able to salvage some of the pieces, especially the slatting in the roof, because it had tongue and groove slatting. So we may be able to salvage some of it, but the structure wise is gone. It's done, and it's unsafe completely.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to push it over. Hopefully, we can save what we can of the picnic tables, and then just push the rest of it over. And I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Board, any questions?
Is it on a concrete pad?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It is. And as far as I can tell, the concrete pad's fine.
And the
I
anchors
didn't
and everything.
see any
Yeah.
cracks or anything, but until I get what's on top of the picnic table, I can't see. So just didn't want to stick my head under there too far.
No joke.
Don't blame you.
Yeah.
Board, any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
All right. Mrs. King, finance report.
So this one's on the board.
Good evening, Mayor and Board.
Good evening.
First, before I forget, with the trash bins coming in, the extra trash bins have been increased from $64 to $73. We really just go with the cost of it. We don't make any money off of this. We just go with the cost. But since the cost has increased a little bit, the extra trash bins for our citizens are $73 now. On my report, you'll see the bank reconciliations are up to date as of June. There's still some journal entries that need to be made for receivables and that kind of stuff for the end of the year. So I haven't completely finished those, but it's reconciled. It's just a couple of extra items there. Fiscal year 27 budget has been rolled over from into the accounting software, so we are actively working in the fiscal year 27 budget. Preliminary field work for the audit has begun, pulling the reports together and year-end, all the things that go along with that. There's probably about 40 or 50 items that we submit for the preliminary field work just to get them started. Let's see. On the financial summary report, the only thing that's not included in there that has not been noted is the payroll accrual, because the payroll date was 7/10 on that, and it included some dates from the actual fiscal year 26. So I have to take that portion and post it back to fiscal year 26's ledger. So that will be split up this week, but I just wanted to let you know that. So if you're looking at the expenses on here, they'll change just a little bit because of that. Salary increases for fiscal year 27. Those will take effect on this next payroll. Our staff started earning that rate on 7/6. So on the pay date of 7/24, that's when they'll see those effective there. Let's see. This week, I'm in the process of getting our fixed assets module called up to date. That's one item that was not covered in our training for Black Mountain software, so it was just kind of put on hold. So we're going to finish that up this week, so that I can get depreciation and things for audit. Sales and use tax for earned in May. What's earned in May and posted in July is included in the numbers that you see in the box. There's one other month that is not in there, but I just used the same calculation of 2.87%, and if that continues for
the next, what was earned in June that we'll post in August, then we look to be about $38,000 over budget on that. So with that, we're just looking at the 2.87% increase. On the actual report, I've just made some notes for you guys as far as June taxes are not in there. I haven't received all the documentation for that to be posted yet. We still have 1 month of the sales and use tax that I just mentioned. The solid waste collection fees, we did receive that this past week, and it looks to be it was $20,550. So we are finalizing that line, which is account number 4451. It's on the first page. We're finalizing there $7,900 short from that revenue. And in the expense lines, in the expense column there, under the encumbrances year to date, those are actually POs that have been entered that we've not paid the bills that goes along with those POs. So those will be carried over from fiscal year 26 into 27. I just wanted to note, I noted on there what those POs were for, so you know what was coming. Those are the highlights. Do you guys have any questions?
Board, any questions for Mrs. Can on the financial report? Okay.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next, Mrs. Ward on our active living report.
Good evening, Mayor and
Good
Board.
evening.
Since it was July, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board did not meet. There are several projects moving forward, including installation of the Town Park Gateway Arch, the Children's Discovery Garden design work for Sandback Forest Center, and the Rocky Branch Loop Trail. And the Rowan County Master Gardeners are also expected to present their proposed pollinator garden to the board in August. The library continued its summer reading program throughout June, offering 5 different programs exploring periods of American history and culture. And there were 134 visits recorded, circulated 63 items, and 6 new library cards issued. If you have questions about certain specific things, I might have to pull Joe or somebody else.
All right, thank you, Anna. Board, any questions on the active living report? Okay, thanks so much. Mr. Morris, anything you need to say? All right, very good. All right, we'll move to the town manager report, Mr. Francis.
I'm queuing up some music.
I like it.
So,
I love beach music.
everybody name that tune.
I love beach music.
That's right.
There we go. So Thursday night, we're going to have a DJ in the park. DJ Dana Grubb is going to kick off something new here that we're calling Third Thursday Music. It's a pilot series at this point, but we are excited to kick it off Thursday night starting at 5:30. It'll go 5:30 to 8. And so that's going to happen this month, but what we're also going to be announcing is that we have a partnership in place to sustain this forward with Duke Energy, Piedmont Natural Gas, and Catawba College. So we'll talk more about this on Thursday, but certainly wanted to make sure people knew to bring a chair and come out and have some fun. Also, coming up this weekend, the Cannonballers game on Saturday night against the Myrtle Beach Pelicans at 7 p.m. There is a discounted ticket link that we've publicized for folks to have Spencer group seating at the ballpark for that game. And my understanding is the Winterfest group is going to be there in force and having a table set up as well. And our friends at the Transportation Museum, I think they were the first to stake a claim on this game. They're set up to have a member appreciation night, so we should have a fun Spencer night at the Cannonballers Saturday night for anybody who's interested.
Let me just add to that.
Sure.
There's also something very exciting happening as well. I was asked to throw out the first pitch, but unfortunately I can't be there. And so Kannapolis' hometown country music star Cameron Marlowe is throwing out the first pitch and singing the national anthem. So I'm sparing you the first pitch and the national anthem. We've got a country star doing it. So
Well, look at that. They tried to see if they could find a replacement.
They got a good
came
one.
up with somebody. So that's all coming up, and certainly hope folks are interested in taking part in it.
Great. Well, thank you for organizing that, and it's exciting. I'll be there on Friday night. All right. Board, any questions for Mr. Franzese on the manager's report? Okay. We'll move on with requests and comments by the mayor and board. We will start with Mr. Miller tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I want to talk about development, good or bad. That's what we talked about tonight with Mr. Blunt. At our pre-agenda meeting this past Thursday night, we had several good citizens expressing their concerns over changes in their neighborhood. Hawkinstown Road community has always been a quiet, mostly rural, made up of many outstanding citizens. However, in the last few years, high-density residential development has threatened the life of many of the older citizens. I personally understand their concerns. Rowan County as a whole is seeing tremendous growth in population with new homes springing up everywhere. We as responsible citizens cannot stand in the way of responsible growth. We must defend our current citizens with the best intentions that responsible growth is best for our community. Our town planner, Mr. Steve Blunt, a Spencer resident, has always shown pride in his recent development in our town. He has worked hard with many different contractors to create the responsible growth that we all can be proud of. The future of Spencer is bright. Growth will continue to search for attractive avenues to expand. We as citizens must constantly be aware of the growth that will strengthen our community for the best of our citizens.
Well said. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Moody.
I just wanted to reiterate our sadness at the loss of Mr. Mason Ivy and his tremendous work on our Historic Preservation Commission. That was really sad to learn of his passing. So I just wanted to share that again. And just as a reminder, I love summer vacation, full swing. I don't know when every child in Spencer got an e-bike, but I sit out on my porch every night and just watch them whip by. But just as a reminder, be very careful because there's a lot of young people out there on 2, 3, 5-wheeled objects, and there's a lot of adults looking down when they drive. So let's, just be reminded that there's a lot of people out there on recreational equipment.
And I hope these folks on recreational equipment are wearing helmets.
I mean,
if not, we should encourage that
when
too.
they drive by, but
Even with the helmet, there are risks. Mark took a spill earlier this year, close to miles an hour, and he ended up with circular home. So even the best helmet, because I bought him the Uberman helmet because I'm really fond of it. And it could have ended up really tragic. He was very lucky. Yeah. No one's right. Because at 3 miles an hour, you fall off the bike.
Thank you, Leslie. Nope, it's a good public service announcement. Thank you. Ms. Stanley.
I want to echo the sentiments of the loss of Mr. Ivy as well, because I can remember how energetic he was when he came and graced us with his presence and showing his interest. So my heart goes out to the family of the Ivy as well as Mr. Deal. But I did want to do something a little different this time and let you guys know that today is National Macaroni and Cheese Day. All right.
I think it's also National Cow Appreciation Day for some reason. I've had all sorts of cows showing up on that. Yeah. Anyway.
And that is one meal that brings lots and lots of people to the table. So however you choose to do it, whether you're using Gouda or you're using Swiss or American, or you want to top it off with some truffle. Enjoy this day. It's National Mac and Cheese Day.
Sounds good.
That's fantastic.
I hope somebody has it in the oven.
I was going to say, I'm coming over to Pam's for dinner.
All right. We'll move down to Miss Sledge.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I gave you fair warning.
Well, you did give me fair warning. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to say thank you again to all the people who work here and do the work that needs to be done in our community. I don't say thank you every time to the staff and the people here, but we do appreciate you, and you're the best, I think, that we have in this community, maybe even in this region. I'd like to share a couple of things with you regarding my representation for the Central Atlanta Council. The Region of Excellency Award nominations are now open, and a couple of years ago, we applied for those, and we were successful in getting one of them for our Yankton River Park trailhead. The information came from them. It says every community has a story worth sharing. The Central Atlanta Region of Excellence Awards recognize the projects, partnerships, and leaders making a difference across our 9-county region. We're now accepting nominations for initiatives completed or launched during the past calendar year. Categories recognize excellence in collaboration, innovation and quality of life, transportation and mobility, aging services, and government leaderships. Award recipients will be recognized this fall and featured through Central Atlanta's website, social media, and newsletter with a nomination deadline of August 14 at 5 p.m. I will be happy to share this information with any of you. I'd like for you to put your thinking caps on, and I'm sure that we have some awards that could qualify for this recognition. So let's get them out there. The other thing is an opportunity for Save the Date. This again is through the EDC. It's through Central Atlanta, but it's being sponsored by XLNC, the Rowan Chamber, the Chamber of Cabarrus, the Cabarrus Partnership for Children, the Rowan EDC, Smart Start Rowan, and the Cabarrus Economic Development. It's a Save the Date. Join the XLNC Cabarrus and Rowan County Child Care Economic Summit to explore the economic impact of the child care crisis and how business leaders can drive solutions. Hosted by XLNC and community business leaders across Rowan and Cabarrus counties, lunch will be provided. The date is July the 27th. The location is the Laureate Center in Kannapolis. The doors open at 11:30. The program runs from 12 until 1:30 p.m. and there's a RSVP requested for anyone who's interested. I've got a couple of the flyers, but I also can forward this so you have the link for the RSVP. So, and I just want to share that with you all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to say to you all. I think that's it for tonight.
All right. Thank you, Miss Sledge. Miss Seacrest.
Very quickly, I wanted to thank Hunter again for joining the junior firefighters. My grandson started with the Spencer Junior Firefighters years ago, and he's still a firefighter, and he's 27 years old. So I applaud your decision, and I think you're getting a great opportunity, and you did a great job coming up here and speaking to us. So very proud of you. I also want to recognize Dana Grubb, the DJ that's going to be here for our event on Thursday. From what I understand, he donated his services. I think I read that.
That's great.
He is one of the most sought after DJs in this area and performs all the time at the beach. So we are very, very blessed to have him here. And if you've never heard what he spins, you'll enjoy it if you love beach music and rock and roll. He really does a little bit of everything. He grew up across the street from me, so I've known him since he was just a little kid. But be glad to see him again. And I'm very proud of all the activities we've had going on this year. I've come up here and have watched the little children in the sprinkler system, the little fountain system, and they seem to be enjoying it. And the park just looks wonderful. And I keep hearing wonderful things from the citizens about it. And again, I want to mention that we are all very sad to have lost Mr. Ivy, because I can only reiterate, I was so impressed with his enthusiasm and knowledge, and it's a great loss for the town. And I want to thank Steve for coming up and presenting that about Hawkinstown, because I share your sentiment exactly. I have a lot of friends that live in that area. I taught a lot of students that came from that area. One of them was sitting in the audience on Thursday night. I can identify with how they feel, because I remember Hawkinstown from the very beginning, and it's always been an outstanding neighborhood and has produced some outstanding citizens. But the growth that is coming, I think when it's done and people see it, I think they're going to be pleased. And I'm proud of Mr. Blunt for sticking to the plan and teaching it to us, and I appreciate everything you do. And I know that you are very cognizant of the residents out there as you lead us in this direction.
Thank you, Ms. Seacrest. Mayor Pro Tem.
Sir, good evening. In closing, I'm going to say thank you to the residents that were present and that are viewing online. Appreciate the two residents that came and spoke at public comment, Ms. Talbert and Ms. Summers. Heartfelt sympathy to the Dill family, as well as Mr. Ivy's family and the HPC board here and the town for the loss of the individuals here, and make it easy as time progresses for the families. I would also like to say thank you for all the hard work and dedication of the department heads, the staff, and my constituents on the board here for the work that is being done. Excited about the growth in industry and homes and things of that nature and activities that are taking place within this town. A nice warm welcome again for Officer Campbell. I know he's departed us, but I look forward to him continue to serve here as an officer. And junior firefighter Hunter, looking forward to you soon to be chief. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a blessed evening.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad.
Oh yeah, our deputy chief that we just.
He's coming in all.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I'll close this out with just a couple of thoughts and comments. As several folks have noted, we've heard a lot about growth in our community, which is an exciting time. And I know for many folks, it's also a bit of an apprehensive time. The what ifs and the unknowns of what the future holds. What I will say is the future holds a bright light for the town of Spencer. We have a lot of strong history to rely on, but I think our future is even brighter than our past. And so that is exciting for sure. But with that excitement comes a lot of responsibility for our staff and our board as we grow to make sure that we are doing that in a managed and orderly way. And I think, one of the key things we hear is the concern about new folks moving into our community. But I would like to challenge our citizens in Spencer and surrounding Spencer that we be a very welcoming community and welcome these folks that are looking to make Spencer a home. They are looking to make Spencer a home because they are seeking something that they obviously are not getting elsewhere. And what I believe that to be is a community that offers a wide variety of amenities, that offers a small town feel with a large historic district that people love, railroad history, and a transportation museum. Really, we have things to offer as a community that nobody else in North Carolina and many places across the country do not have to offer. And so we should lean into that and really seek to be as welcoming of a community as we can to our new and potential future residents. And I think the thing that says it all is Mr. Morris sent me a link that many of you have probably seen posted by the Rowan EDC from the publication islands.com. It used to be a print magazine. It's now a digital-only magazine. There's a great article in there that highlights destinations in the United States, particularly in North Carolina, that folks should travel to. And the title is Between Charlotte and Greensboro is a Historic Railway Town with Scenic Parks and Southern Charm. And it is all about the town of Spencer. And my hope and prayer is that as we go through this growth process, that we are always able to maintain our view from islands.com and from other places and other people, that we will always be that historic railway town with scenic parks and Southern charm. And that's our commitment, at least my commitment as mayor, and I think of our board as well, that as we grow, that we're making sure that we are working to grow in a managed fashion, that where we are always maintaining that Southern charm and that small town feel. Again, we can't be a model small town if we grow into a large city, and so I don't think that that's our goal. So with that, I will end my comments. Again, thanks to staff and our board for all that you do, and thanks to our citizens and businesses for making Spencer the great community that we all get to live, work, and play in. So thank you all. Is there any need to go into executive session tonight? Yes, sir. All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Segrist.
Second.
Second by, who was that? Ms. Stanley? All right. All in favor? All right. We stand adjourned.